Hey everybody, this is another demo of GigHz Precision AI. This is a radiology report dictation system with clinical decision support for things like LIRADs and adrenal nodules and lung nodules. It'll insert the Fleischner criteria. It'll tell you and score LIRADs or Bosniak criteria. It'll give you a pop-up, and we can go through that another time. We've done that before. We've also mentioned some of the output options that you can change if you like, but a lot of people leave a lot of that stuff off. And what they do is they'll generally just start with number one. They'll dictate something, and the dictation will come up. For now, we're just going to paste a report in there for simplicity's sake. If you notice, the moment MRI cervical spine without contrast is dictated in there, it says edit my template or use ACR template. Here, I believe I've edited this previously, so I'm going to reset it to the ACR template and show you how a report is generated in that scenario. We'll generate the report, and you can see this is a cervical spine MR. It's showing some disc space narrowing, some degenerative changes, disc bulges, osteophytes, and such. And the report is very well done. Technique and comparison are standard in their reports. Obviously, some centers do this differently. Some people don't even want technique. Some people don't want comparison. We'll kind of go over that. They do level by level, but as you can see, a lot of that information is now structured exactly where it should belong. There is some additional findings that are injected. Anytime something is dictated that doesn't fit the template perfectly, there's an additional findings that's injected so you don't lose your content. And the impression is stated there. If you state your indication, it'll tailor the impression to your indication. So that's very important, very useful for people to know. But you see that the dictation actually changed from a 1 and a 2 to a 3 being clear dictation or 4 for refinement. So, if you're going to refine it, let's say you want to remove some of this stuff, like you don't want something in the impression, or you want to add something, you forgot about C3, C4, you can basically clear the dictation. That does not create a new report. It just clears what's written in there. And then you dictate a refinement and apply the changes, and it'll just apply to the template as it exists. That's a very useful feature, obviously, but for our time, we'll clear this out. We haven't copied it, so it says you didn't copy it. Do you really want to get rid of it? The answer is yes, because this is a demo. We'll paste that report again, and let's say we want to take over that template because we don't like the way that it looked. Now, like I said, a lot of people will change a lot of the structure here. This is a busy page, but this is a very robust editor. There's two forms of it. What comes up, which is the refinement editor, and there's a text editor, which is very simple. Straightforward, simple. You can just copy and delete. But the structured editor is what I'll show you, and we'll go back to that as well. If you notice, there are several different sections. You can do standalone sections that are added. This is kind of like, we'll do one here. Let's say we'll do sedation as is suggested. And it'll make that a section all on its own, like technique is. But, I'm not interested in necessarily doing that, but let's say that we do. And you can set it to show it if content exists, or show a default under it when nothing else is actually rendered. And you can actually type in what you would want to show, or always show and then put content under it. Now, how do you put content under it? You can put subsections and components that you're interested in putting under sedation. Or whatever it is you choose. So that's one way of doing that. We'll take that off. For comparisons, it says show a default if not dictated, but again, it has omit if not dictated, or fill the brackets only. These are three different options. Show default if not dictated means that show what is in this area if nothing is dictated. So in this area, it says the findings or no comparison studies available for review. So what it'll do is if you say there's a comparison study, it'll put the findings or the comparison that you mentioned. If you don't, it'll put no comparison studies available for review. There's different options. Fill in the brackets only. What you can see here is you always want to say MR, for example, under technique, MRI of the cervical spine was performed, but the with and without contrast is the part that changes. But this part you always want the same. So you fill the brackets only. Put the brackets, the things that you want changed, or the things that generally come out with and without, or with. You can put a slash and put it in there. And what this will do is if you just dictate MRI with MRI cervical spine with intravenous contrast, it'll just change this to a width and give you this whole line. So you don't have to perfectly dictate it, but it'll perfectly come out each time because you set this fill the brackets to show the defaults. And omit if not dictated. For certain times, let's say you don't want to talk about the appendix if you didn't see it. So omit if not dictated, and you can also set that. But for right now, we're going to make this simple. We're going to get rid of a bunch of stuff. I don't want technique. I don't want indication. Under findings, limitations, not interested in that either. You can move these things around. Everything has a movement button. You can actually save stuff to, let's say you do an abdominal section and you want to save it and use it for chest, abdomen, pelvis, and use it for other sections. You can save it and it'll come up as my saved blocks under here. The things that I deleted, let's say you deleted something and want it back, you can restore it by going to this area. And I don't want level by level. It's not something that I want to dictate in this setup, so we'll do that. We'll leave alignment, cervical cord, you can remove that as well. Vertebral bodies, paraspinal, soft tissue, level by level, we said we're going to remove that. And I think I'm going to add a component here, and we'll just call it discs. And I want this findings if dictated otherwise. So omit if not dictated. No, I want to show default if not dictated. Otherwise omit. So we'll change this. Unremarkable. Now I want it to findings if dictated such as disk space narrowing or disk bulges. Simple. So we put it that way. We save it as my template, and it's now saved. Now, let's say you find this complex. You don't want to mess around with that. Well, you can just go here. You can just edit it, quickly delete stuff. This is a text version of the editor. You can go structured or text editor. Either works. And like we said, this is saved. Now, we will start a completely new report, and it has saved us, saved our template. Actually, we did start a new report, so here you go. We're going to generate report with exactly the same same dictation as we had last time, but our new template. And there you go. It changes everything. Alignment, normal cervical spine, vertebral bodies normal, and mild degenerative disc disease, disc space narrowing, most pronounced at these levels. Anterior ossified multi-level oncovertebral hypertrophy, moderate right neuroforaminal narrowing, and it basically is lumping everything into this. And if you want to separate these out, you could do that as well. And there you go. That's how the system works. It's very adaptable. It takes a little time to set the templates, but once you do that, they're all yours, and you can do with them as you like.